Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure and a great honor for me to join you in this very important discussion through a webinar. And I would say the world is facing a very critical moment. We are no longer purely facing the peace and development challenges, but I think if the United States continues onto this very dangerous path, mankind may face a critical war or peace moment. And this will have tremendous impact on mankind as a whole, on almost every countries in the world. Allow me to very briefly mention that under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping, about 41 years ago, China started the economic reform and political reform. And by now, China is completely transformed. And Deng Xiaoping's wisdom in charting the road path for China's development, which he called socialism with Chinese characteristics, is still valid today. And I think this new paradigm is based on two very important pillars. One is maintaining stability at home in China, and the other one is to keep peace abroad. Now, keeping peace doesn't mean China has all the power or the abilities to dictate peace to the rest of the world. No, it doesn't mean that. But it means China wants to do whatever it can to stay away from war and to continue to follow the path of peaceful development. And lo and behold, 41 years later, China is already the largest economy in the world if we use purchasing power parity as the benchmark. And it is the second largest economy if we use the normal exchange rate as the benchmark. And China is developing very fast. And it is generally expected that in another 10 to 15 years, China's economy will surpass that of the United States. Now, it is this very important realities that we are talking about that gives rise to this very dangerous path followed by President Donald Trump and Washington. And they are really pushing the edge of envelope in all directions, try to create a situation to derail China's peaceful development. Ironically, I've called this the Tonya Harding syndrome, mainly because we know what Tonya Harding was. She was a figure skater in the United States. She won the national championship in the United States, but then she was really very much worried about Nancy Kerrigan, her competitor, outperforming her and taking the prizes, not only the national championship, but also at the Olympic Winter Games. What she did was to collude with her husband and other associates, and they whacked the kneecap of Nancy Kerrigan, putting her out of competition. Now, Tonya Harding syndrome not only can afflict individuals, but it can also afflict countries or systems, etc. And I think what the United States is doing right now is to try its best to whack the kneecaps of China, to put China out of competition. Now, this is against fair competition. This is against the economic development. And this is against the fundamental interest of the Chinese people, but also the American people, and I would say of the world peace and development at large. Therefore, I think while we are talking about this dangerous trend in the United States, which want to look at China as an enemy, and they want to spare at nothing to entangle China, for example, in a Cold War or in a hot war, whatever you talk about, but their aim is very clear. They want to derail China's development. And this is very, very unfortunate because I would say people with decency of mind can tell that it is up to the hardship and entrepreneurship of the Chinese people over the past 40 years or so that China has transformed itself economically as well as politically. It is not by the giving away by the United States, for example. It is definitely against what President Trump has been talking about. For example, China raping the United States. What's the fun of raping the United States, if anyone can tell me? Or, for example, China plundering the United States. No, it's not. It's by fair competition, fair trade, good commerce. And I think eventually the American people, the consumers in the United States, actually benefited from that. Therefore, I think we do not want to see more and more lies coming out of Washington, expressed especially by the president of the United States. We want to see the United States adopting more responsible approach to not only its domestic affairs, but also to major international affairs. Because if the United States becomes a very irresponsible country, then we can see why almost 7 million people in the United States are being infected with COVID-19 pandemic, and why more than 200,000 good Americans have perished because of their contamination with this COVID-19 pandemic. I think there are people in the United States who have their hands tainted with the blood of the American people, and they should be held responsible. They should be held to the task, and they should be really aroused from their self-indulgence and be told the harsh reality that it is up to the leadership of the United States to save and protect the American lives. They cannot just by talking falsehood to the American people, or even at the United Nations General Assembly speeches, for example, try to blame China and create more conditions for a Cold War to be unleashed, and even a hot war, which will really destroy the prospect of peaceful development for mankind as a whole. So I think from the Chinese perspective, we are not an enemy of the United States. We do not want to engage in a hot war or a cold war with the United States. As a matter of fact, China's development has benefited a lot the American people, as it has benefited lots of people, lots of countries in the world. By now, China is already the largest trading partner with more than 130 countries in the world. So the track record actually is very solid. It speaks for itself, and it is based on peace and development and entrepreneurship and innovation in a sense. So first of all, allow me to denounce the falsehoods and the mischaracterizations coming out of Washington. And going forward, I think China will need to adopt a position of strength, because it is our realization that if you are weak and if you are not prepared with all these bludgeons coming out of Washington, with all the whacking of the kneecaps coming out of Washington, any country, any other country probably will be held onto the ground. But China is different. China is strong, is powerful, is united with a clear vision and with a clear strategy. That is, we want to follow peace. We want to develop peace. We want to develop good neighborly relations, friendly relations with all the countries in the world, including with the American people. And that gives us hope that a war unleashed by the United States, cold or hot, will not be a unilateral benefit to the United States. No, if a hot war happens, it will be really mutually assured destruction of China as well as the United States. The United States is not going to gain anything meaningful from a hot war with China. A cold war is also going to be tremendously damaging to the United States and the interest of the American people and the American companies. At the same time, collateral damage to many other countries and people in all the other countries will be huge. So I would like to appeal to the leaders in Washington to come back to their senses, to adopt an approach of sanity and soundness and science, in a sense, rather than adopt a policy of anti-science and irrationality and very wrongful emotionality, for example, because it's not going to save the United States. It's not going to save the American people. Here in China, we want to appeal to mankind as a whole that we want to be a firm defender of peace in the world and the right of every country, big or small, to peacefully develop themselves cannot be deprived by anyone or any country. even if that country is the biggest military power in the world. If we unite to exercise our legitimate right to peaceful development, to defending ourselves, for example, then we believe the world of tomorrow will be a better world, and peace can be defended. War, hot or cold, can be avoided. Thank you very much. Thank you.